Hello, this is Demon Phoenix continuing with my Deathmatch playthrough of New Game Plus on a low level New Game Plus using a Piercing Cold build. Now, this is skipping ahead a little bit, so you may have seen that there were some things at the end of last episode. We are no longer in Skellige, and that is because I wanted to see if I could do high stakes, but I didn't know if I'd be able to do it with my sort of incomplete Nilfgaard deck. Or if I would be able to survive the fist fight. But I did all of that, and I did manage to get clips of it, so I may make a separate little video to so that may or may not have been uploaded. It's Schrodinger's video at the moment, but we are just carrying on. So I am in high stakes. I'm going to try and finish that a little ahead of schedule, even though there'll be very high level enemies, just so that I can get my crowns back, because it took me 1,000 crowns to enter. You get 4,500 crowns when you win, so I could do with doing that if possible. Not sure if I'll be able to defeat those enemies. But the upside of that was that I have now got the amazing Relentless ability. And I actually did manage to get Villain Tretameth and the last spy card from the two people outside of Madman Lugos, which is where I left the stream last time. So I saved there. I only had to play him a couple of times, and I got Villain Tretameth, and I thought, well, that's fair enough. And then I played the last guy, and I got Aard straight away. So very few resets there, so that was very fortunate, and that is nearly a full Nilfgaard deck. I can take the cow card out of it if I so choose, and put the siege engineer back in, because now with all of the spies and everything, it's a little better to be able to get cards with the spies that do direct damage instead of cow, which you can sometimes get from your spies later on, and is less useful. So now we're going to be able to play cards. There's a couple of cards that I still want to get to add to the deck, but those are from slightly later quests and need to have done some things with Triss before that. So just going to be looking at those a little bit later instead of right now. Didn't need to buy that wine, but never mind. I haven't decided what I'm doing with the romancing yet, so we can come to that later. Right, okay, so just going to get rid of these things. Sell a couple of these. And that's everything, and now I can play Gwent, and I should be pretty good against pretty much anybody, because my Nilfgaard deck is looking pretty formidable now. It's a very low chance that you'd actually, end up with no spies or in the ability to summon them back, unless they cancel them with cancel Relentless, like that very rude person has done there. So that usually I would now be able to Relentless one of his spies back, but I can't do that because unfortunately he's cancelling out my ability, so I'll just have to use these instead, and we'll play a pretty even game there. So let's see how these go. I do have a bunch of medics, even though I've not been able to get any decoys, so I'll be able to play some of these Imperial Brigades and then play them back again afterwards if needed in the second round. Get quite a lot of score that way. Okay, so I'll need to save one of those medics to play that Aard card back, and they will probably end up medicing this one as well. So I've got a 20-point lead there, so I'll make them burn a couple of cards, because it'll take them at least 2 cards to be able to win there as well. And I'll be able to actually medic all of these back, so I'll win this round, and then they'll have a substantial lead in the cards, number of cards, but then I'll be able to medic these back, and I should get some decoys then, just on, balance of probability, and then I can medic these back as well. So I'll start with that. So because I won that last round, I'll be forfeiting this round, so I can play all of these spies, and then end up getting my decoys and everything else back. They'll play Aard now, I would think. Alright, okay, so they played the 10 score there instead. Alright, because they decoyed their Aard already, yeah. So, we'll play these two. I should start getting some decoys soon. And there's also a pretty reasonable chance I get either Villain Tretameth or my Biting Frost card, and this is why I have one Biting Frost card in the deck. So I'll gradually pull the advantage back in my favour now. So there's the Biting Frost. So for all these cards that they're getting there, they'll get all the score for it, and then I'll be able to wipe them out with Biting Frost and Villain Tretameth after. That'll be useful. Right, so I'm actually going to use the Biting Frost now while they've got 2 sets of type bond cards, because those will be 2 each and those will be 1. And then I'll actually be able to decoy Vil back and then take off the rest of their decoys as well. Not going to do that just yet. I'll play a couple of these others if I have any spies left to play. I haven't actually checked, but yeah, I've got one more there. So those will all be 1 score and I'll still be able to take those out. Now they've only got 2 cards left, so let's just have a look at what they've got left. So they've no spies that they can actually play from here either, because I've not taken them out with Vil and Tretameth yet. So I can do that. And now they're passed, there's no chance of them playing the spies back, so I'll win very easily. Obviously no need for me to do this, but might as well. Could play the rest, but really what's the point? And that was without Relentless as well, so you know, it's interesting how the deck actually works. Okay, so I'm just going to carry on. Try and complete the rest of this quest. Which will mean fighting a bunch of humans, so I'll just get my Hangman's Venom ready before I forget. And I can tank up on my potions with delayed recovery and then use Piercing Cold to stun them, and Poison Blades. I think I still have Poison Blades equipped at the moment as one of my... yep, I've got Poison Blades and Protective Coating. So it should be able to survive those as well. Just going to switch off. I don't really need the extra vitality, I don't think, from Endure Pain, so... Let's get Magic Trap back there. Just for a little bit of extra sign intensity. And I don't really feel like I need the extra vitality, so I'm just going to switch out the greater green mutagen for a greater blue, even though it's not being boosted by the abilities. I don't really need the extra vitality, I don't think, because I'll be back to fighting things that are more my level instead of very high level after this quest. So I'll just swap that greater green for a greater blue and get the extra 15% sign intensity. When I'm back to fighting things that are my level after finishing this quest, that'll mean that Piercing Cold will be doing more damage. Right, let's have a look. Just going to go and finish this high stakes quest. And I've been holding off on playing a lot of the random players in Gwent because I wanted to have the virtually, you know, the as complete as possible Nilfgaard deck, because I've never done it doing high stakes early to get Relentless. So the thing is you get Relentless quite late from doing high stakes because it's a high level quest. So you never really get to use it through the whole game. So I've held off on playing a lot of Gwent people here in this playthrough so that I could do high stakes early, and that I could do Grimace quest early, which I've already done. So I have Mysterious Elf and the which is from a level 24 quest, and I have the Relentless leader ability, which is by far the best for the Nilfgaard deck. Incredible leader ability, just means that you can take a card back from their your opponent's discard pile, which obviously most of the time with the Nilfgaard deck will include one of your 3 spies as well, so that's really good. Alright. Just going to find our way around here and then try and take these guys on. If not, then it's not the end of the world. I'll just have to wait later to get that 4,500. Don't really need the money, as I discussed in one of the earlier episodes. I have like the armor made already. I really min-maxed the hell out of spending my money at the end of my no armor playthrough, because I didn't have as much money as usual because I hadn't done the expansions in that playthrough. So I was trying to keep it as low level as possible for starting this playthrough, and Piercing Cold would then remain more effective throughout the rest of New Game Plus because I'd be starting at a higher level. And so because of that, I had a lot less money than I would have done usually. And so in order to get the Grandmaster Griffin gear, I had to do that quest 9 levels early. I was level 31 when I did it. So I managed to do that when all the enemies were Red Skull, which was pretty cool. And then also was able to get enough money together to get the Superior Woven gear, which is what I'm wearing now, and also to craft the full Grandmaster Griffin set, all 6 pieces, including both swords, so that when I hit level 40 in this playthrough, which won't be too long from now, I would be able to actually equip that Grandmaster Griffin gear, which goes hand in hand with a Signs build like this Piercing Cold. Right, so just going to loot all this stuff while I'm here, might as well. A few things to sell after I've kicked these guys' ass. Well, hopefully kick their ass. Okay, so just want to be tanking up on potions first to activate delayed recovery and get them all active. Loot everything there and then take these guys out hopefully and get my 4,500 crowns. Turns out to be this guy, obviously. Anyway. Oh no! So yeah, these are all Red Skull. These are going to be pretty tricky. But let's see how we go. Can still stun these guys. Use the Superior Devil's Puffball, which will hopefully, you know, inflict poisoning on these. And then if we can inflict a bit of bludgeoning on them. Not bludgeoning, we can stay away from the bludgeoning is what I was going to say. But even if we can't inflict poison on them, then we should be able to eventually wear them down. So as you can see, because they're Red Skull enemies, they're not getting worn down by the bleeding or poisoning, so you have to be careful with that. So this is going to be quite a long fight, and it will need to keep Quen up at all times. But it's alright because Sasha's just doing tons of damage to them anyway, so I don't even have to worry about them particularly myself. I can just keep them stunned and then she'll rip off big chunks of their health from the look of things. So I could wear them down with critical hits, but it looks like I can just wait for her to do it, so that was quite easy in the end. Regardless of what my own level was, she absolutely kicked their ass. Good job not trying to fight her. Right, so I think I should get my 4,500 there. She gets half of it, so yep, there we go. So my crowns are looking a lot healthier right there, which is good. Great fun. I'll get a decent chunk of change for selling this stuff as well. In fact, I'll probably just save this stuff until I get to Toussaint, because I'll be going there early, as I always do, as soon as I finish Poet Under Pressure. Might do that now, actually, who knows. While I'm in Novigrad. Because I do fancy getting the Dandelion card as well, so I can do some of Triss's quests instead of the regular ones. Everything's still locked. So what's going to be the best way to get out then? Do I have to go this way, or can I go back up, or what? Everything's still locked. Which way is out? Oh my days, everything's locked. Keep my toxicity topped up, because I'll be able to go and do Triss's quest next. Seriously, where am I going to get out? Okay. Pretty cool. That's high stakes all done. I got my Nilfgaard deck all sorted. So yeah, I'm going to go and get the Dandelion card, which requires doing a couple of quests of Triss's first. Don't think I have to do the Menga quest just yet, so should get away with it. I actually meant to tell him to fuck off then, but whatever. Just got 4,500 crowns, so I'm sure I can spare that 25. It's spoiling for a fight, but you know, never mind. This is the slightly irritating thing about delayed recovery if you're trying to keep the toxicity up this way. You'd have to do it whilst running about if you're trying to keep it up in between. I mean, I have so much alcohol that it doesn't really matter. I could just meditate very easily and do it that way. Trying to remember when my next actual encounter is, so if I'll be able to keep it up, keep delayed recovery up until then, or if I'm better off just quitting a little bit, doing that later. We'll see. Just gonna get through this stuff. Right, so we're going through all this stuff. Skip through all that. Menge, what a stupid son of a bitch. Anyway. Yeah, get stuffed. What a div. Anyway, get all this stuff. I like how they tell you not to put a foot wrong and then you're just like looting stuff right in front of them.
Just turn to healing.
Anyway. Grab all this stuff. Don't really need this stuff to be perfectly honest, but you can always sell the books.
Amulets are emanating magic. Gotta be Triss's. She was allergic to potions. Triss's. Never knew how to drop them on the floor. The rose of remembrance. All dried up.
Oh, you don't actually have to grab all this stuff then. I thought you always, I always seem to remember having to, but you don't really, I don't think. It'll be a little while before we have a fight, so I'll just meditate before it comes to that. Or rather, I'll just use clear honey, white honey probably, to clear my toxicity and then do that. So. You can follow the cut purse, but it takes a little bit longer, so in the interest of going through things quickly, I'll just do it the other way instead, usually. Yeah. Alright.
Certainly that away. And of course. Thanks for your help.
So yeah, if you just use all those things, he tells you how to get there. And also take this opportunity now that I've got Relentless and everything else. I can play everybody else who I would normally play instead of holding off like I have been doing, so that's cool.
You play.
Let's play. Not that I need the Vesemir card because I wouldn't really use it, but so you can see I've got one spy there and a mysterious elf, which will be useful. Although they've got mysterious elf themselves, so I won't have too much of an advantage. This is a really useful thing about having the one biting frost in the deck. Is like there's not too much chance of pulling it into the deck, so it's not, you know, one if you don't have multiple biting frost in my particular setup, but it does let you do some very useful things like be able to use white frost and biting frost and Bill and Tretameth together. So you can see here that they're piling up absolutely loads of score. But it doesn't really matter too much because I can clear it off afterwards unless they use a clear weather on this very turn, which they haven't done. That top row has 14 cards, so as soon as I do this, it's going to wipe them all out. And I'm back in the lead again. I can actually use Relentless here as well and take the other spy. I can either play this whilst I've got the Biting Frost in place as well. Which I'm going to do. So what have I got here? It's going to cost me a couple of cards to win that round. I'd have to use 2 of these. But I do have 2 medics and a decoy, so I'm going to just do that anyway. I can always play those again next round. I can torch that card off. It's a good job for them that they played that agile card on the ranged row there, because otherwise I would have just taken it out. So they'll decoy the spy back, and then I'll take it again. Just slowly bleed them out of cards, which is very useful. I'll save that last medic for the next round and use it for the spy again, which will go to my graveyard. So even if they do have a card to beat me in this one, which they don't, I would have just played that, and then it would have played the Vatier spy card again, and I would have won very, very, very easily again. We get Vesemir that way. Pretty cool. Not going to continue on that quest just yet, because it's very slightly bugged. So if you beat Marquis Serenity before you have met what they called. If you beat Marquis Serenity before you have met Dijkstra, the quest sort of ends and you get the leader card for the Scoia'tael deck, which is great if you're trying to get it early, but it can very occasionally, apparently, bug so that when you do meet Dijkstra, the quest doesn't pick up and restart again, which it does usually, but it's not really worth taking the risk. I don't really need the hero card just yet. And the problem is that if it does bug and you miss out on that card from Dijkstra, then it stops the quest from restarting, so you don't get Ciri's card, which is the last one of the 4 people that you play. So that's why it's important to just make sure that you do play Dijkstra. So it's better to leave it until you've actually met Dijkstra and then start and then play Marquis Serenity after that. And usually it's alright then. So that's what I'll be doing this playthrough. So I'm just going to use this first. And again, this is why Relentless and the decoys and medics are so brilliant on the Nilfgaard deck, because you've got such a high chance of getting these medics. You can pretty much always use. You only need 1 of the regular spy cards, or for them to use a spy card, and then you can virtually always guarantee to medic it back and everything else. So it's very useful. Got plenty of medics here again. Win that one. Win that round going away very easily. And then take the Thaler card back, which is even better. I love Gwent. The reason I'm playing that one first is that if they have a decoy, they will decoy that card away. And then I can easily play Thaler afterwards, so they're not decoying Thaler, which is better. Okay, so now I've got a ton more cards than they have, and unless they play a Biting Frost themselves, they're probably in a fair amount of trouble, especially since now it seems like they don't have a decoy, or they would have decoyed that back already. This is the difference with the Northern Realms deck is that you're not as guaranteed to get a medic because it only has 2 medics, one of its own and then Yennefer. So you're not guaranteed to get the medic like here. You're virtually always guaranteed to get a medic and decoys. So you can nearly always do something productive with the Nilfgaard deck. I'm just going to hold off on these for just a minute. Because if I wait until they've got as many of those as possible, if they've got the extra +1, because there are 3 of these cards available, so if they do have the 3rd one, then it'll make these 9, and then when I scorch him, it'll take all of these out as well. It'll take this one and these 3 cards with they're all 9. If not, then I can use Villain Tretameth and then use the scorch afterwards, so I can use Villain Tretameth to take out that and then scorch these ones after. The reason I don't want to do that yet is because they may have the catapult cards, which are worth even more as the last 2, so I'm just going to hang on and see if they play those. But it doesn't look like they have them. So I'm going to go with the original plan. Now, they may also have a medic card, and I don't want to let them use that. So, just going to do this instead. I don't want to double these up because then it'll mean my scorch takes those out instead. So with that card being the medic, that was exactly why I played it like that, because if I'd have taken this one out with Villain Tretameth, then they would have played Yennefer last. They would have replayed this and had more chances to get the other medic or the catapults or some other powerful cards. So right now, what I can do is I don't have a decoy to take this 10 point off the board. So if I use my scorch, it's going to take out that, unfortunately, and then do this. So it's not really worth it. Fine as it is. Beat them the old-fashioned way. Nothing else that I need to call back from my discard pile. So you see, I would have won that one before I even started on this, and then after I play these ones, let's get phenomenal scores with that. 207, easy. That's why the Nilfgaard deck is amazing. You can do things like that. You only need to be able to play one of your own spies with the Relentless, and that's why it's so fun to actually, get Relentless early and be able to do it like that. So that was fun, and that's why I've done it on this playthrough, so I can use that full Nilfgaard deck the whole way through. All I've really got left that I would add to it is the Olgierd card and the Olgierd card and the Dandelion card. Really, it'll take me a little while before I get Olgierd, obviously, because that's part of doing a great deal of the Hearts of Stone quest. So, definitely not be there just yet. Alright, so just going to go through this stuff. Okay, so we've got this done. Just going to do some of these Novigrad quests, just to the point where I can do Matter of Life and Death. Can't remember exactly how far along that is. If it's after the Menga quest, then I'll just leave it till later because I hate the Menga quest, it's boring. So we'll see. Do you get Matter of Life and Death before then? Can't remember. I want to be able to speak to Dijkstra as well. Right, anyway, so we're just going to go through this, blah blah blah. Anyway. Vinnie Jones, honestly, he looks so like Vinnie Jones. English soccer player, or football player if you're British, but yeah, interesting.
Helping you to survive, Act.
6 months ago, if somebody said Triss Marigold would be working for a Novigrad criminal, I'd never have believed it.
Right, gotta get all this stuff done. I wish Gwent showed you which deck they were playing before you played them. That'd be useful. Could swap in the Vesemir card instead of one of the others, but not really necessary just yet. So that's the brilliant thing, is even if you get Mysterious Elf, you've got a chance of then drawing in one of your other spies afterwards, and then using that with Relentless, which is very useful. He's going to take that back from the looks of things. Again, got plenty of medics, so I could score quite highly here, if needed. It looks like he's probably going to play that spy card back at some point. I'm going to play these because I can always medic them back afterwards, and at least that'll put a bit of pressure on them to be able to maybe use the leader card, and if I can get them to do that, that would be brilliant. Shame I don't have Villain Tretameth. It's a big help against this deck, but never mind. Right, so in order to beat this, I could just play one card there. And unless I'm very unlucky, I'll be able to get the spy card back from them as well, from the discard pile. Because unless that spy card had stayed out as the actual last card left, then it was going to go to the discard, so that's good. And that's why Relentless is so brilliant, because you get to do things like that. Now I can just try and get them to waste a few more cards. Let's keep the pressure on a bit. And that was what I wanted. I wanted them to actually, you know, use the crone like that. Because now they've used the vampires and the crones, there's a lot less chance that they'll be able to beat me in the last round. Especially because they've just used up that clear weather here. So they're probably going to play that spy again now, but that just means that I'm able to decoy it as well. So it gives them a little bit more chance to use it. But the choices I have, I can bring back all of these, or I can bring back the other card instead. So for now I'll just start with these. If I need to, I can just bring the archer back later instead. So now they've used Villain Tretameth, that's too late for them to be able to scorch that. So now they'll use Vil, get rid of those 2 6-point scorecards, but it won't matter. So I'll just score too highly anyway. So we'll see what we get from this first. And now they're going to lose very badly. So what's going to be the highest scoring? Doesn't really matter. Can bring both of these back. Double up that row. There aren't really any random win cards that I need for the Nilfgaard deck, at least any longer.
I take more.
Yep.
I'll
Alright. Another person to play here, actually. Might as well play him while we're here. Wonder if he's got anything interesting. Probably not, because I've got all of my alchemy recipes already. Now, last playthrough in the no armor playthrough that preceded this, I actually used the Bardock to get the godlings to end up together, but I'll go the other way this time. Got at least one spy there, which is good. Got another one on the flip, which is even better. Always play the higher value spies first, just in case they do decoy them back like that. Gives me more chance of them playing the higher spies on my side instead. So there I played 11 points worth of spies, and if they want to play it back they'll have to play 9 points there, which is what they've done. So I can manipulate the score if I want to and stay ahead like that. Still got 2 medics, so I can relentless this spy back unless they medikit themselves again, which they have just done. A couple of ways I could do this. But I would need to win this round if I'm just going to medic those, so I'll go with that first. Right, so unless they have a biting frost, I should win this, and then I'll be able to medic those spies back onto their side. Okay, so now I'm going to pretty much deliberately lose this one. Hopefully get a decoy, at least one. Or Mysterious Elf, that'll do as well. And I'll slowly get the advantage back in cards and then be able to use Relentless afterwards. So now that I've got a decoy, I can play that last spy back again. Doesn't matter if I lose this at all. You slowly press the advantage as I get more and more cards compared to them. Oh damn, that was irritating. I had miscalculated and they hadn't doubled that row up yet, so they don't have the 10. But no matter. Just going to do this this way instead, so that I can send a spy to their graveyard. And if I'm going to lose this round already, then I might as well play that spy immediately. So yeah, even though they're going to win this one, they'll lose the war. I might actually be able to win this outright. Let's see. Can't be bothered doing the math, so I might as well just use the cards first and then see. Right, so my highest score is 9, their highest is 10. They passed already. So we're going to easily win, in fact, because I've just taken off all the score by scorching those ones. Then double up this row. And play all of these. Love this deck. So yeah, a lot of the time you can get extremely high scores with Nilfgaard if you know what you're doing, so gonna go with Triss here.
Hello. Get to. I'm. You.
Right, so we've got to go do all this stuff. And skip through all here and then go fire the sewers and then we're all good. Don't really need all this stuff actually, but you know, it's a little bit of money, it's free stuff, I don't know. I just sort of compulsively loot things a lot of the time. I'm just so used to doing it, so... Clear off my toxicity a little bit there. Get all this stuff and go and fight the drowner over here. This is why I obviously wanted to use this kind of playthrough where I'm starting at a lower level so that Aard will still be effective and be able to knock the enemies over, and therefore piercing cold can still take effect. Which was the whole point of this playthrough, so good to see it work in there. Alright, so we get all this stuff.
Thought they'd be safe from Radovid's reapers. Instead, they jumped out of the frying pan into the fire.
You got to, as much as you know, people who've read the books will say, but Triss, you know, about Triss's character and everything else. She is superbly likable in the game, even though that is apparently quite different to, you know, her character in the books. So, just gonna go on here. Not really a major consideration in any way, shape or form here, but killer whale's always active whilst you have, if you use it as part of the, you know, what's the word? Delayed recovery, so that's kind of cool. I'm trying to keep my toxicity up here because we can quickly go to the next part of Triss's quest, and that has like ends up with quite a few humans to fight at the end of it, so it'd be a good idea for us to do that. Try and keep it above that 70%.
Find the parcel.
Alright. Let's go.
Still remember my elements? How I use them?
Come on. 6 months isn't that long. It's not like I'm senile.
But you do have a history of amnesia.
I've recovered my memory completely.
Good. That should stop people from taking advantage of you.
Someone's been taking advantage of me.
I have, for one.
I've never even intimated.
Right, okay, let's skip through all this stuff. Use a few more potions and things just to keep delayed recovery topped up.
Triss.
We sub.
Skip through all this stuff.
We need to.
I think no matter what you choose, he always ends up paying in full after you kick the crud out of the people who are trying to attack anyway, so...
Look for evidence of rat activity.
Thing is, I know what evidence of manticore activity looks like, but rodents...
Geralt, we'd both rather be somewhere else. I'd rather be sitting in a royal council meeting. They killed the king. Look for crevices and droppings.
Once we place things,
Alright, so that's all this stuff. Make sure we've got our Hangman's Venom in place, and just top up the toxicity a bit. How much toxicity are we short? 40, exactly.
Get ready for some magic fireworks. Once I activate the incense, we'll have a moment to talk.
Alright. Let's get through all this stuff.
Now we wait for them to
And that's off we go. Right, so skip through all this, blah 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 blah. I'm just gonna choose like whatever because I don't really care. None of these like make any real difference either. Like, all right, skip through, skip through, skip through. All right.
never.
Okay. All right, so we're just gonna skip through all that stuff. Ruh-roh. Son of a bitch. Well, time for everybody to die. Boom! And that's the instant kill effect of the Aard sweep, which is awesome. And you can see it's just stunning them there as well, even if it's an enemy that can't be knocked over. You can just stun them and then beat the hell out of them like that, which is fun. And you get that instant death effect as well, which will trigger on knockdown enemies. And that is the whole reason I wanted to do this playthrough. Starting it at a lower level, before when you get to like level 50, 65-ish, that sort of high level, the enemy sign intensity resistance gets so high in New Game Plus that Aard just stops knocking people over. Like, especially, you can have like 900% sign intensity at level 100, which I've actually done. 910% sign intensity I had, and it still wouldn't knock over a level 100 wolf, which is ridiculous. So the sign intensity scaling has some real issues on New Game Plus, and so you have to watch out for that. And it makes sign builds, apart from like a specific conductors and magic focus build, it just makes sign builds, you know, a lot less viable in New Game Plus, to the point that really all you can do is burn with Igni, or have conductors of magic to do direct damage with Igni, and to some extent Quen if it's perfectly set up with a proper conductors of magic build. And so the difficulty with that is that it really limits you to a sort of combat based build, really. And you can just use, you know, sound intensity from Euphoria to burn people. So if burning's the only thing that can really be done, then what's the point in having a signs-based build? So unless you're using Sujuren's Conductors of Magic build or one like that, it's very difficult to have an effective sign-based build, and even then it's not going to be as good as a combat alchemy build. So the reason that I've started this at a lower level is before that sign resistance becomes a problem, I can use this build, and that's why I finished the no armor Death March playthrough at as low a level as possible. And that's why we're playing this one. So really good to see Aard sweep and the piercing called mutation actually working, which is cool. Just going to skip through this bit here. Got these slightly boring type of things left, so go through all this stuff. Don't really need this stuff, but never mind. Again, compulsively looting. I'll just let my toxicity wear off here. 'Cause don't really need it right now.
Way to the next room's blocked.
Oh, come on. Are you going to actually let me through there, Geralt? Yes, thank you. Really don't need this stuff. I should really stop looting. Amethyst dust, you know, things that you can sell like that. So definitely worth getting most things if you can be bothered looting. Although it does feel like a bit of a chore on repeat playthroughs. Just a bit obsessive with the old looting thing anyway, so I'll try and be a little less obsessive with it, but... Okay. You just got to get rid of the godling and wake up Corrine Tilly.
Another master.
Fantastic artistry there from Sarah. Whoops. So yeah, if you use the burdock or bardock or whatever it is, the plant to get rid of her, then she actually ends up with Johnny, the other godling, which is kind of cool. So even though you make the mean choice, it has an unintendedly good consequence. So, or you can just be nice to her in the first place, and she gets to live here. So either choice works out. Ends up with somebody getting screwed. So you know, nice that the godlings end up all right. All right. Okay, so there's our Oniromancer woken up. We can continue on with that quest there. Right, so I think you can actually choose to sort of betray Sarah's confidence and just lie to her there as well, so that you come outside and you get her thrown out of the house anyway. I would assume that she ends up still with Johnny if you do that, so... Though I can't actually remember. Right, so, yeah, we'll go with that. Let Karina and Sarah live together in this iteration of the playthrough. Iteration or playthrough, I should say, but never mind. Alright. Now while I'm here, I might as well play Gwent with these two people. I love Gwent. And again, I should have used my swallow first, damn it. Oh no, never mind. I'll get healed up soon enough as soon as I use it with delayed recovery next time.
Welcome.
So I have been holding off playing Gwent until I had Relentless and Mysterious Elf. Now I can freely play Gwent to my heart's content. Bars. I got Vil there. It's a Nilfgaard deck I'm against, so just going to keep a couple of those. Not the strongest deck if it's going to have those Nausicaa cards in though. This is great because I'll be able to play that card and then use Vil and Tretameth to get rid of both of them because it'll put the total for that row over 10, which is cool. So I'll play this and then win that round. Two card advantage and a quick win as well, always fun. Dan, could have just used Vil and Tretameth and got rid of the 4 strength card and then played it instead, but should be alright. So here, I'll just use the Biting Frost there. Make them either play the Clear Weather or something else. Just make them waste a load of cards. Now if they have any medics, they'll probably play a couple of those spies back. But if that's the case, then I can just decoy them with these 2 cards as well. But it looks like they maybe don't have any medics, so I'll just play these hero cards first, keep my score up and make them play more cards. And then after that's all done, I can play them in the next round with the Biting Frost having been gone. So I'll just stop there. See what they've got. Now unless they have a Biting Frost of their own, I'll win pretty easily. I doubt they'd be saving the medic. The AI doesn't usually do that, so if they had a medic, they'd probably have played it already. And now they're out of cards again. Obviously I've won already here, so it doesn't really matter, but might as well pile these on for the nice big scores. And again, score over 100 and win easily, and this is before we've even got Geralt or Ciri in the deck, so tons of fun stuff you can do. Now this guy actually has quite a challenging deck, the blacksmith, so he can be fun to play. Let's try and beat him. So that's why it's sometimes good to have the Biting Frost in the deck like that. So now we've got Biting Frost, Anvil and Tretameth. So we should be alright there. We've got Mysterious Elf, which is like a little bit frustrating, but this is going to be a tricky game because a lot of my high scoring cards are melee as well. But in this instance I can just win that fairly easily. I do have a 1 card advantage as well as the spy there, so. Now what I want to do here is just play a couple of these cards, and then I want them to use their leader ability, and once they've used that I'll be having a much easier time of it, because I'll just use the Biting Frost and then Villain Tretameth and get rid of them all at once unless they clear the weather straight away. So they've got Villain Tretameth of their own. But I can use Mano and then call that other one back. And that is exactly what I wanted. So now their deck is still very, very vulnerable because of these decoys, and particularly because of the Biting Frost. So I can just keep decoying Vil back and then use it. Oh dear, you hate to see it happen. So that line of 56 is all from the 7-8 card strength ones there, and unfortunately for them, they've all just gone down to absolutely nothing. And we'll play this. Doesn't really matter. Oh, didn't even mean to do that, but never mind. Didn't even have to use the Biting Frost. Okay. Might as well use that food to heal up instead of wasting a swallow there. Smooth. This is a good place to pick up some items the first time through. You can often get some quite useful things like runestones to sell or use, or meteorite ore a lot of the time. Let's see if I get them. I sometimes find that you get I've been finding that you get different sort of items in New Game Plus for whatever bizarre reason, but if you come here normally, you'll often in the first playthrough find some meteorite ore or silver or things like that, which you can use for your Griffin gear when you get to that level, which is very useful. So, see what I get this time. Yeah, so I got a couple of meteorite ingots there. So there are certain places where the things are sort of random, but they're more likely, I think, to be, or in my experience, to be better items and loot. So you can find a lot of stuff in certain places, and so this is always a good room to check. And it's very helpful for getting the stuff for your griffin swords or armor. Because whatever armor you're using, even if you're not planning on using the griffin armor itself, it's a good idea to always get the griffin swords, because they're virtually always the best swords you can get at that level. So, alright, so we're just going to skip through all this stuff. Just going to skip through so I can do it as quickly as possible. Though the dialogue is very interesting the rest of the time, but when I'm just doing it on a regular, replay, I don't really need to go through it any longer. So I'm just going to go through this. Right. Go through this stuff. Right, so that's that vision. That's that bit of the quest done. Like I say, I'm just trying to get through to a matter of life and death and get that dandelion card. That's all I really want. And I can probably go back to just doing the Baron's quests and stuff like that. Oh, Dan, you've got to do all the broken flowers first. This. Grim. Never mind. So I don't have... no, I don't have those available yet. That sucks. Never mind. Where am I going? Rosemary in time. Why is it trying to take me that way? Oh yeah. I'm on the very outer ring road instead of just this ring road. Okie doke. I think Zoltan should be here now. Yeah, there we go. Do we fist fight these guys? I think we have to fist fight these guys, which is irritating. Never mind. Hate fist fights on deathmatch. They're sometimes really easy and sometimes very, very difficult. Fist fights? Yeah, fist fights. Especially when they're two at a time like that.
Come on, come closer.
Very irritating. Ow. I think this is one of the ones where you... Oh no, you can use potions. Oh, that's alright then. Yeah, a lot of the these sort of fights you can, if they're ones where they're ganging up on you, you can use potions, so that's useful. Try and take this guy out. Ah! Good job that you can use swallow, really. Oh, hate fist fights on deathmatch. Right, I'll have to just go through that again. The problem there was I was trying to parry the person right after I'd parried the first guy, so it wasn't really working. Ugh, fist fights so lame on deathmatch. Zoltan was being absolutely useless then as well. Come on, man. Get the lead out of your ass and actually hit one of these guys. How very boring. But at least when it's a fight against multiple enemies, you can usually use your potions like I did there. So if I'd have realised from the start, that would have been a lot easier. Use Superior Marrow to get a bit of... what's the word? Adrenaline, so I can do a bit more damage and should be able to take them out. Don't think you can use Quen though, annoyingly, but yeah. Do it for at the second time of asking, no doubt. Right, so good job we don't have really long loading times to go through. Oh, wait. Right, let's have a go. I wonder if we can get delayed recovery working for this. Actually, that'd be kind of funny. I wonder if Blizzard actually works on this too. Let's try it. Right, let's try and get him. Let's try this again. Interesting to know that you can use potions. That's quite funny. Alright. Fist fight for the second time of asking. It's funny because now I have Thunderbolt, it's doing critical hits every time because it's raining outside, which is hilarious. And we have Swallow active as well, obviously. Yeah, it's a lot easier with the potions actually, it's kind of funny. Critical hits on the strong attacks and stuff. So this is an interesting, interesting illustration of how preparation and skills makes a big difference. So this will be a good thing to remember for future deathmatch ones, especially if you're ever using delayed recovery or anything like that. You can get it raining for these fist fights. You can use Thunderbolt beforehand and critical hit everybody, which is funny as hell. Alright, so we've got all that stuff all sorted. Got to find Dandelion's stupid ledger now and do that.
From the finest vineyards, every last one.
Where's the book? There it is. Alright. So read through all this crap. Read through Dandelion's planner. Right, okay, so we get all this stuff sorted. Let's get through all this. Broken Flowers is so boring. Why do I have to read Dandelion's planner, by the way, if I literally just saw Geralt having it open, which is, like, stupid. Where is it? It's an actual quest item. Menu's a bit slow because I've got so much crap in the menu. Right, so speak to Zoltan, then do all this stuff. In fact, with all the experience you get from these quests being the main story quests, I'll probably be able to get enough experience very, very shortly to be able to use the Griffin gear, which I'm quite looking forward to. Because although it looks kind of dumb compared to the wolf gear, I love that wolf gear. It'll be a bit better in terms of the bonus that you get from the 6 set bonus and things like that. So I'll be able to use that for a good long time. Alright, so that's everything. Right, that's all that sorted. So the nearest person is going to be Vespula. Now I could fight these people very easily, in fact, but that just ends up with her having to leave town. Although I think last time I paid for her to, thing, so I'll do things ever so slightly differently this time. So let's get the things in order. Just because I like busting people up with piercing cold as well, which is always fun. show off the build as much as possible when we've got the choice between a easy fight or not. How dare you? Fuck off.
Thank you.
Anyway. Alright, so if you say king of beggars, they fuck off anyway. Oh, that's interesting. Anyway. Let's go through with that.
Same. Triss.
You get a ton of experience just for talking about these things, so... Right, so we'll go through all that stuff. Then we've got Elihel. Yeah, so you get like mad amounts of experience from this quest. So I'll very, very shortly be level 40. It'll at the very least get me to level 39. We've got to speak to Elihel.
I'm a friend of. You've got. You. Yeah. Sorry.
So we speak to him, her. Him, really.
I met him.
Amazing.
What? That's I. Luckily.
Alright, so.
I truck when you some. Oh. Dandelion. I truck when you some. Oh.
Alright, so we've got all that stuff. We can play him at Gwent as well, which we'll do. Don't remember him having the best deck really, but we'll see. Not got any spies here, but should be able to do some damage anyway. Especially because we've got a couple of medics and the decoy as well. Oh well, impenetrable fog there. So they've got that catapult card there. See if I can win with these two, and then if not, I'll replay some in the next round. So they've got to play another card now because Nilfgaard wins all ties, so they've got to play that one. So I'll have a one card advantage, and I'll be able to take one from their graveyard as well. So what I'll do is I will try and win this one with the two archers, and then I'll take that medic from their own, which they've just done themselves. That's all right. So I should be able to win this, unless they've got a Scorch as one of their last two, which they couldn't really use because of the other one anyway. They bring that back, that's 32. Okay, so it depends what their last card is. This is why Relentless is so amazing. Because you get to nick whatever the best one from theirs is as well. And be able to replay it, which is just so much fun. So many strategic options for the Nilfgaard deck. Tons of fun. Just going to buy these masks as well. So I don't have to later. And I'll leave it until, because I'll have to come back for the Fox mask, which isn't available to buy yet because you can't do that until Matter of Life and Death has started, so I have to do that. Don't think you really have anybody to fight in this quest. Apart from maybe Rosa. And I'm not sure if the things carry on there. Alright, so I'm going to do Rosa first, just while I've got all my potions active. Because that'll let me just keep those stocked up and see if they remain active when I'm fighting in the sword battle with the wooden sword versus her. That's very helpful. Assuming they do stay active. I think your decoctions do as well, but I'm not 100% sure. We'll find out anyway. Right. Just lie about this. Go through this stuff.
Hope so too.
This Rose has got a downright beastly temper. Grab a wooden one. Take care.
So you can't actually equip the wooden sword there. Just take it. Anyway, I'm just going to do this bit. Alright, so we have got all of the stuff active, which is fun. I don't think you can use signs if I remember correctly. No, you can't. But at least we can do critical hits. So that'll be fun. And even though I can't use any potions at the moment, I'll hopefully be able to do a good chunk of damage to her before the toxicity gets below 70, whilst these are still active. Quite fun.
What? Lost your nerve?
Can't seem to parry her attacks, which is kind of annoying, but never mind. So, do a good chunk of damage there. Get all that sorted. Alright, okay. Anyway. So, dandelion, blah 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 blah. Skip through all this stuff. Yeah, yeah. So, assuming we can get the hits in there, just get the critical hits, which is very useful. And knock her about a bit. It's only a wooden sword, so you know. Plus, you know, equal opportunities, you know, feminism and all that. If you're going to come at a witcher with a sword, then you're probably going to get smacked, to be honest. I mean, she's talking a lot of smack considering she's getting absolutely smashed at the minute, but, you know. Ow. 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 Oh, you can parry her, that's good to know. Well, you can parry some of her attacks anyway. Easily knock her down there. That was much easier than in the regular playthrough as well. Alright. No, get stuffed. I don't want any weapon. Just get through all this stuff. Alright, so we've got to go through all this.
Quiet. Listen.
Right, so we got through all this stuff.
Rhetoric. Who?
Anyway. Got to get through all this stuff. Don't want to be giving her lessons because that just starts an extra quest, which is like pretty lame anyway, so can't be bothered with that one. There's our level 39. Very close to being able to use that Griffin gear now. I've got a few more. I didn't go and get the Places of Power in Skellige either. Oh well, never mind. I'll get those later. Need to get over here. I'll talk to Marabella first, even though Molly is very, very slightly closer. no combat or anything for a little while now, so just let the toxicity die off, and then I'll again use a white honey and then all the potions again next time it comes to a battle, just to save on that alcohol. Not that we really need to, but... Now, the Nowhere Inn, you can play somebody at Gwent as well, if I remember correctly, so we'll do that. Where's the innkeep? Well, I'm just going to meditate now anyway, so... I want the innkeep to be about so I can play her at Gwent.
You're naughty.
No.
Okay. Seems like she gives pretty good prices. Sell some stuff to her just to clear some inventory space. Yeah, she gives good prices. She doesn't really have a great deal of coin to be buying things, but never mind. So even though she has no money left because she just bought all of my stuff, we can still bet on Gwent now. Okay, so just going to start off same as always, using any decoys. Wait for her to play that spy back, and then decoy it myself. So she'll go to 9 cards, and then I'll take it back and go to 11. And they have one of their cells as well. There's 2 ways I could do this. I'm just going to play this one. Nope, that was the wrong way. Oh well, never mind. That was a stupid way of doing it, but never mind. Should still be okay. Especially because she has a relatively weak deck. This is one of the things I really like about having the Biting Frost in that deck as well. You can play all of these high value spies on their side and not really have to worry about it. Whoops, got rid of my own one there, never mind. Miscalculated there slightly. I was looking at their strengths instead of mine. Hey, I'm tired, alright? Just play all these for the hell of it. Okay, so played a fair amount of Gwent there. I am having to call it a day. I have some real life stuff that needs sorting out right now. So, if you've watched the episode, Gwent heavy as it was, hopefully that's a good indication of why I wanted to get the Nilfgaard deck set up like that, which was a ton of fun. If I can, I will post the high stakes footage. It was all fairly straightforward. I lost a round to Sasha because she has pretty much the best deck in the game, so no real problems there. But I will just be back on the path as always, and if you've made it through the whole video, thank you so much, and please like, comment and sub for more content. So thank you very much for watching. Have a good day on the path.